No.
Where your boyfriend at? Is he getting you refreshments? Is he tall? Is he getting you Mike and Ike's? Or you like Mike and Ike's? Is he hefty? Is he coming back?
No,
Where your
no,
boyfriend?
no,
Where your boyfriend at?
No,
Where your boyfriend?
I don't have a boyfriend.
Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to the InuYasha V-Logs, and finally, shit hits the fan. The plot thickens. We are on the beginning of a brand new storyline and journey for our heroes. This has been a long time coming after Season 4, and we got 3 episodes to go through on this vlog. This, of course, being the resurrection of the Band of Seven arc. Technically, it is longer than that. It's essentially also known as the Mount Hakurei Saga, and it is a long, expanded story. But because we only have so many episodes to go through, we kind of have to split off story arcs or especially the saga, in separate parts so we can get through it a lot better and we can have more episodes throughout the year. So we got 3 episodes to go through, and I'm basing this mostly on the original released DVD versions, not the box sets, but just there was a time that anime, and a lot of animes actually, were doing these individual DVDs with different episodes, like about 2 or 3 episodes a DVD, and we're kind of going based on that with Season 5, because again, it's sort of this era of the series where there's just way too many episodes for one story arc, so we have to split them off. So, starting with the Band of Seven arc, this is a 3 set of episodes, episodes 102 to 104. We open the first one with kind of going back to the Wolf Demon tribe again. It's been a while since we've seen them. I mean, we saw Koga 2 or 3 episodes beforehand when he encountered Tashomaru. He's still hunting down Naraku, and he's pretty close to his trail until the return of a character that a lot of people seem to really like, that being Ayame. If you guys don't remember, she showed up in Season 4 in one of the better episodes as Koga's future bride-to-be, even though Koga wants to be with Kagome. But obviously, her tribe is being attacked by this giant demon that is devouring them and killing a lot of people. In fact, what I love about this 3-parter is that it goes back to basics. It does go back to the tone of what the show is. It's not just a comedy. It's not just a series of adventures. There's like blood, there's drama, there's darkness. It's like, finally, back to business here. Okay, so we have this giant demonic demon thing attacking nearby villages, slaughtering a lot of the Wolf Demon tribe. In fact, 2 characters, I think, die in this 2-part episode. I think. I'm not 100% if they're dead or not. One of them is one of the Wolf Demon packs who gets a pretty violent death. Like, all these demons, attack him, and there's blood and shit. Koga's too late to save him, though the Wolf Demon does give Koga information on this demon and hunting down Ayame and everything. And during this time, basically, Koga does fight this demon, who turns out to be human. And not just human, but resurrected through the ethnics of bones and graveyard soil. And you're like, wait a minute, the plot thickens. We have seen this before. So Koga fights this demon and almost gets his ass kicked, but it turns out to be a pretty easy fight, especially given the fact that this guy, this giant beast thing, has a sacred jewel on his forehead. And I should also mention that before the episode even starts, we have a prologue where Kohaku has 7 jewel shards and goes to a gravesite and dumps them there. And you're like, alright, Kohaku, what are you doing this time? So the first part's pretty easy peasy. We get to see what this demon's about, and it means that worse things are ahead. And obviously another encounter with Koga and Ayame. They get to patch things up a little bit. Even Ayame talks with Kagome. It seems they're pretty good pals at this point. Like, they've kind of settled their rivalry, and they know there's bigger things happening. We need to take care of that first. So there are some great scenes here and there, especially in this first part. Part 2 opens with the introduction of a character who I can't really remember their names because there's so many of them with the same pronounced name. And this one I think is like Jayomaru, I want to say. I'm not 100%. But this character is sort of this bandit character who's got this pretty kick-ass sword that, like, multiplies and folds up like a snake. It moves like a snake. It's like basically, think of this, but if it had, like, multiple blades, it's essentially a whip sword. And you know what? A whip sword sounds awesome! It's getting creative with the weapons, and that is one thing I will say about this three-parter. In part 2, not only do we get to see this amazing weapon that this character uses, but, the Fuel Era has guns now. Yeah, gunfire has been introduced. And this is an interesting part of the show, because this is where the bridge between historical accuracy and fantasy start to cross paths. Like, this is where it starts to become, like, if J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Last Samurai. It's where you have these fantasy elements, which I always assumed this took place in a more alternate dimensional world or whatever, where there are demons and monsters and dragons and shit. But at the same time, now they have access to gunpowder, to guns, like to stuff from like the 17th century where like England stuff that we're trading in, coming in from trading routes. So we've now established the Fuel Era has guns, and even the characters take a back seat to it, because, like, Shipple's like, what was that? And Kagome's like, I think that was gunfire. And InuYasha's just like, gunfire? Like, they don't know what guns are, because they're so used to swords and shit, swords and sorcery, and you're like, oh, I wonder if this is why all the demons got taken out, just with a bullet, you know? I mean, I joked in my 100th episode about how a bullet would probably not stop Naraku, but I don't know, let's see what happens. I don't know if guns are going to be later introduced into the show, or firearms are going to be more essential to the series story, because, and I think that's kind of a drag, because it does take away from the fantasy element if you start to include guns. Like, this isn't like steampunk or anything. Like, they actually now have magic swords versus guns. I don't know how this is gonna interact with each other. So, to the point, there's a group of samurai warriors who are going through hunting demons, and they have guns, and they come across, again, I want to say Ginormer. I know he's going to be around for a while, so it's going to take me a while to pronunciate his name. With that being said, I should point out with this episode is that this is one of the areas of Season 5 where it feels like there were some behind-the-scenes aspects going on. And what do I mean by that? Well, Ginormer, I'm just going to call him that in this vlog, he has a thing for InuYasha. Not only does he want to kill him, but he basically has a sexually arousing pleasure for him. So, Ginormer is kind of gay. Now, that's totally cool, but there's one aspect that bugs me. They got a woman to voice a male character, a gay male character, and that's a shame, because I understand probably in the early 2000s, even in the US and North America, that was still not a thing to show on television. So even though they did call him a he in this episode, he's voiced by a woman, and I think that's a bit of a drag to deter the censors from saying, hey, why do you have a gay guy in your show? That's not right. It does bug me. It does bug me that they couldn't, out of all the changes that they've done to Blu-rays and redubbing Kohaku and shit, they can't get a guy to come in and dub this. Like, I think there should be more cultural acceptance there, and that's my only gripe with this character. The character's a great villain, a chilling villain, don't get me wrong, but you're missing one of the biggest aspects of that character because of censorship issues. But aside that point, Ginormer is a great character. He is a complete and utter sick fuck. Like, he's using that snake sword like a whip, and he's cutting InuYasha to shreds. Even Sango gets injured. You're like, oh my god. For a while, you forgot this show was pretty bloody when it can be. Like, this is a very violent show. And it's no wonder it aired on primetime. But yeah, like, people get caught, people get killed in this episode. Like, Ginormer just slaughters this entire army of guys. Like, it's pretty fucking crazy. So, our characters are kind of like, oh shit, who are these people? And it turns out that the giant demon and Ginormer and a bunch of other characters who show up are part of a Legion of Doom, you would say, of the Band of Seven. Now, who are the Band of Seven? They were a group of mercenaries who were all a big seven team, like the Magnificent Seven. All cool bad guy heroes-ish, have between like 7 to 9 members. And these guys are trouble. And not only are they trouble, but they all were dead once. They were all executed. They were all hunted down years ago. And now they're back to life. Now, how can they be back to life? the sacred jewel shards, have resurrected them. Those shards that Kohaku had, he essentially resurrected the Band of Seven under the command of Naraku. Now, obviously, if Naraku's involved, there's trouble. So now we have these new foes, the Band of Seven, who are a huge problem. And so far, we've gotten rid of one, so now there's 6. And the Sinister Six, I guess you could say. The third part opens with our third member of the Band of Seven, who I can't remember who his name is. He's like the Giro of, or Guiro of the Ginyu Force. He's kind of the most worthless character. You want to throw a dog treat at him, for fuck's sakes. But he has, like, magic potions and shit. In circumstances that are really complicated, he kidnaps Kagome, he wants to make her his wife, and then he also kidnaps Moroku and Sango and poisons all of them. And again, the stakes are raised in this 3-parter, especially by part 3. And why is that? Because this weird member of the Band of Seven gets pretty hands-on with Kagome. Like, it gets kind of rapey, and it's really uncomfortable to watch. It does bring up the dread. It does bring up the darkness of, this isn't Care Bears. Like, this isn't your typical anime. Like, people are gonna get hurt, and people are getting God knows what happening to them behind the scenes. So, thankfully, Kagome escapes, gets the jewel shard, and eventually this guy chokes her out. Like, this is a very violent episode to see these characters get tortured, essentially. Meanwhile, InuYasha's pinned down by Giuliano, keeps cutting him up and shit. Shippo comes in to warn him, and he gets there. He's too late to kind of save them. They've all been knocked out. Kagome was choked out, and the other two were poisoned. But who saves the day, other than Sashomaru comes in and says, "Hey, frog motherfucker, fuck off." The death touch. He death touches this character. So that Band of Seven member is gone, and meanwhile, Giuliano sees Sashomaru is like, ooh, another cutie I kind of like. So it's kind of cool that, like, you know, you've got these new villains showing up here and there, and then we get, like, 2 more after that when Giuliano meets up with this weird monk-looking pirate dude with a bazooka. And then the episode ends with InuYasha and Shippo now in trouble because they have 4 of their friends knocked out. I forgot to mention Kilala. So Kilala, Moroku, Sango, Kagome are all poisoned, and they have to find a way to cure them and get an antidote to depoison them, devenom them. And the stakes are high, and that's where we end. And we end with another member of the Band of Seven who looks like a giant tank duck. Boy, I can't wait to see what happens next. What are my thoughts on this arc? This is a very great return to form. We're back on the main story. I cannot wait to see what happens next after episode upon episode of filler. It's just great to see this entire story come back to the center point, the Sacred Jewel Shards, Naraku, and a new series of villains with the Band of Seven. And so far, they're making a damn good impression. I would highly recommend the Resurrection of the Band of Seven arc, and including the entire Mount Hakurei Saga. I'm already hooked. Definitely a good, solid, I'm going to say 7 out of 10. This is a great return to form. Looking forward to next time. So, thank you all so much for watching this InuYasha V-Log. We got more coming. We gotta go through the entire Mount Hakurei Saga to deal with, and it's gonna be fun to see what happens with the Band of Seven. So let me know your thoughts on this 3-parter in the comments section below. And don't forget to support our Patreon. Just $1 more will get you access to all of our content, as well as other special features. So, until the next video, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying, the quest for Mount Hakurei has just begun, and I am super excited to get back to form. Until next time, see you guys later. Take it easy.